All right, men. This is the first of the Q&A episodes of whatever it is that I do on YouTube. Eventually, this will start becoming a proper podcast. That is my goal. When I make the correct amount of time to do all of that properly, I will be starting one very soon with my partner, but that's its own conversation. I've been saying it to you guys at the end of every video to drop me questions in any way that makes sense to help me help you. So this is going to be the first video where we don't do any level of video scripting. I just have about 8 questions, I think, across different platforms in the last 2-ish weeks, because I'm not going to pretend like I'm getting heaps of questions every day. I'm not that big yet. I would like to do one of these Q&A videos every time I approach some kind of a milestone in subscriber count, similar to what Mr. Williamson does on Modern Wisdom. I'm not hitting those big numbers just yet. I'm approaching 200. So if you watch this and you've somebody that might enjoy my type of content, I'd really appreciate if you sent my videos their way and told them what we do, what we're about, and what kind of value they might have. But yeah, let's just get into it and run through a couple of the questions. I've pulled them and I've tried my best to not think about them before they're there because I want to just get some raw, unfiltered what's coming out of my mind. Number one is you always talk about doing what you love instead of forcing discipline. But what if you haven't found that thing yet? How do you keep showing up when you're not passionate about it? That's something I find really hard to answer, if I'm honest, because as long as I've been an adult, I've wanted to work in fitness and help people and do all of that. That's been my passion always. I've deviated. I've worked in call centers. I briefly worked in a McDonald's where people used to make the joke, oh, you went from making people fit to making people fat. I've done a few different gigs. I've stepped away from coaching a couple of times to focus on the management side of fitness, the business development side of it. I even went into supplements for a little while as the distribution manager for Europe for Enhanced Athlete. That's its own whole video. But I've always kept some level of helping people in fitness. It's my passion. So, in answer to that, I'm lucky because I've known what my passion has been since I was 18. I had a little bit of a struggle between 16 and 18 where I thought that I was going to do music. I think this camera's going to follow me a little bit. There was a time when I used to play this thing for probably 10 hours a day. All I wanted to do was be a musician. I was very, very good on the guitar. I wasn't particularly good at writing my own songs. I wasn't that good at singing. In fact, I was awful. I won't try and lose some subscribers by trying to sing. But all I was going to do was go and study music. So if you're in Ireland and you know what the Leaving Cert is, great. But if you're not, just so they explain it, it's the final exam that we do when we're going to leave secondary school or high school for the Americans or whatever you have in different countries. We have a bunch of exam subjects that you pick that can shape what college course you have access to in Ireland. And I had music, I had art, I had engineering because I had some level of thought that I might need sound engineering to be a musician. And I had German, which was not particularly useful for countries that I've lived in. None of that was going to be useful towards me becoming a personal trainer or helping people or coaching people or going down the route of higher education in terms of sporting and sports science and that space. So right up until March, where the final exam is in June, everything I was focused on was just music, and fitness was my side gig that I enjoyed lifting. I was doing MMA, I was a kickboxer, I lifted weights to be better at that. In March of the final year of my schooling career, I went to an audition for one of the colleges I applied for. Having already played gigs in front of thousands of people multiple times, super comfortable being on a stage and playing music, I sat down in front of 3 people on a judging panel who were deciding if I was good enough to get into this college, and I could not play a note straight. I was sweating more than any workout I've ever done. I was such a bag of nerves. I completely bombed out the audition, and when I came out to my mother in the car, and she's like, how did it go? And I was like, terrible. She's like, oh yeah, because all Irish mothers are supportive and they think we're the best in the world. She didn't believe that I completely bombed the audition. I sat and I thought about it. It was the first time in my whole life that I'd sat and thought about, what do I feel? What do I really want out of life? What was that experience telling me? Because I had literally a decade of practicing for nearly 10 hours a day, every day. I had the skill at the thing, but my body wouldn't let me do it because somewhere in my subconscious, my mind was telling me no, but my mind was telling me completely no, that's not what you want. So I had to think over a couple of weeks as to what do I want to spend the rest of my life doing? What am I passionate about? And I discovered that helping people in the gym was the thing that was really bringing me value. Because I was spending so much time outside of school training, like every opportunity spare I had, I was in a bodybuilding gym, grinding it out, learning everything I could about growing muscle. To where some of my peers that weren't spending as much time as me in the gym were then asking me, how do I do this? Should I eat that? What supplement should I take? Because I was obsessed. And I started thinking, this is amazing. I give this bit of advice. My friend goes and does this workout. He comes back and he's like, oh my God, my chest has changed shape. I feel so good. That became my passion. So, to answer the question of talking about doing what I love instead of forcing discipline, and if you haven't found that thing yet, how do you keep showing up when you're not passionate about it? Depends what part of your life you're in. If you don't have a family relying on you, if you don't have big bills to pay yet, I'm not going to tell you to suck it up and make it happen. If you're a young man watching this and you live in your parents' house and you don't have big bills to pay, sack off whatever you're doing if you hate it and go and find what your passion is. Have a little conversation with yourself. See where you like spending your most amount of time, and not just because it's lazy and easy. What can you talk about all day and never shut up about it and still be happy? If you're in another part of your life where maybe you're in your late 30s and you have a family and you hate your job, you're not passionate about anything easy to notice, I'm sorry, but you have to grind through the shit just for a little bit while you find what you are passionate about, and then make a slow transition towards making that your breadwinner. Like, I'm not going to tell somebody who's got kids and a gaff to just sack off the job and chase the passion. You've got to be realistic. So, to the person that asked that, come back to me and tell me where you're at in life if you want more specific advice. But the easiest path in my mind is find the thing that you would not shut up talking about and chase it. Question number 2 is, what's your honest opinion on TRT and PED, that's performance enhancing drugs, and testosterone replacement therapy, used for men in their 30s and 40s? Do you think it's overused or just misunderstood? I probably would have said that it was overused about 5 years ago. I think the research has jumped a little further forward to where more people know the benefits these days. There's a little bit less scaremongering, but they're two very different things. TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, is keeping you in a healthy range. That's all it's supposed to be for. If your levels should be here based off blood work that you've gotten through most of your life, but over the last 4 or 5 years they start to dip down to here, you feel tired, you have a lack of libido, you're finding a struggle to keep your body fat off, TRT can bring you back to where you should be, where you'll feel good, you'll feel fresh, you'll feel healthy, your blood work will be better, and your general health will improve. If you're in your 30s and 40s looking at actual performance enhancing drug cycles and you don't make money from your body being on a bodybuilding stage or on the top end of any other sport, but that's its own conversation because in theory those people all get tested and don't do drugs, you don't really have any business doing cycles, especially if you've got kids, a family, responsibilities, and you plan on living long enough to see your kids grow up. So my opinion, my honest opinion, once you're an adult, you can do whatever the hell you want. But if you're an adult with responsibilities, you do have responsibilities to the people that rely on you to still be here. So blasting gear when you're in your 40s for no reason other than just feeling like a unit, you're pissing up a wall and wasting your time and cutting a few years off your life. If you are less than optimal and not doing TRT, you're also doing the same thing, because suboptimal testosterone levels is also a quick way to a short life. So do your research, ask me more questions. I will start doing more videos about TRT and PEDs. Question 3, I've been training hard for years but can't seem to drop body fat without losing strength. What's the missing link? Training, diet, or recovery? Little bit of both. This is a how long is a piece of string question. I don't know this person's training regime, how they diet to lose body fat, or what they do for recovery. But I will say it's very uncommon that you can lose body fat, body weight, and not see a little bit of a dip in strength. Even top end powerlifters, when they peak for a competition, if they're trying to meet a certain weight standard of their body weight, they will lose some strength. That's why you'll hear a lot of people talk about new body weight PR, where maybe somebody's benched 125 kilo. It's the most they've ever pressed. Or one of my clients, Kev, perfect example. He recently did a 215 kilo deadlift for two at 99 kilo body weight. The last time he deadlifted 215 kilo, he was 105 kilo and he only did it for one. So while he hasn't lifted more weight than he's ever lifted, he's now lifted that weight for two and he's 6 kilo lighter. For my Americans, that's about 14 pounds roughly, less body weight, but still lifting the same weight and for more reps. That's uncommon. Most people, if they go into a diet phase, will lose strength during the diet, but then as soon as you get back to maintenance calories and spend a little bit of time even in a surplus, that strength comes back. So to that person, unless you're on enormous amounts of performance enhancing drugs while you're dieting, you're going to lose strength. Number 4, you've mentioned burnout before. How do you tell the difference between being tired and actually burning out? I guess if you are actually burnt out, nothing feels exciting. You struggle to wake up on time every day. Your alarm is ignored. You're not getting pumps in the gym anymore. Maybe you're not getting good sleep either. It's hard to go to sleep when you're burned out. Tired is something you can fix with a good night's sleep. Alex Ramosi has some level of a quote about this, which is feeling burnt out is feeling so tired that a good night's sleep can't fix it. I think if you're tired, a strong cup of coffee and a blitz of your nicotine spray will sort you right out, but being burnt out, you need a fucking holiday. You will probably know the difference between the two. If you're stacking more days where you feel like shit than not, you're probably burnt out and need a day or two off the gym. If it's burnout related to work, maybe you need to chill out and take a full weekend where you don't look at your phone. What supplements, this is question number 5, do you actually rate as worth the money? There's so much snake oil online and it's hard to tell what's legit. This is a great question because there is a lot of stuff you can take. I take things that not everybody should take. This is Brainitus Respawn that I buy in Jacked Paddy in Swords by Ostrovit. They have another one called Brainitus Focus. This one is for during the day where there's caffeine, there's L-theanine, there's a whole bunch of stuff in there that gets me fired up and ready to think. The Respawn has magnesium, B6, it has melatonin, L-theanine in a higher dose than the during the day one. A few other things. This is actually all in Polish, so I don't know all of the ingredients off the top of my head, but it helps me sleep. If I was going to give somebody an ABCD guide to what's a valuable supplement to buy, if you live in a country with not a lot of sun, vitamin D at a high dose. I take 10,000 units a day, have done for like 16-ish years now. Never had a problem with my vitamin D and my blood work's always been sweet. Creatine at 5 to 10 grams every day, no break. We've done a creatine video already, so go back and watch that. I'm not going to give you my manifesto on creatine yet again. A high quality protein powder if you're struggling to hit your protein numbers from your food. If not, eat yogurt, eat beef, eat chicken, drink milk, eat eggs, you're grand. Protein powder is just a food source. After that, it kind of depends on what you're looking to get out of your supplementation. There's glutamine if you have gut disruption, it can be really useful to put in the morning. When I've had acid reflux in the past when I was using oral steroids, using glutamine in the morning when fasted helped the quality of my stomach lining to be a little bit better and made it a bit more resilient. Outside of that, you've got like your pre-workouts, you've got your amino acids, you've got a laundry list of random good stuff that you could be taking. L-theanine I mentioned twice in those two supplements. I use a lot of caffeine. L-theanine helps a little bit of the burden of the caffeine for the burnout of nervous system from taking it too often. So that can be fantastic to help you if you struggle to switch off. Outside of that, if you're spending more than is comfortably possible in a month on your supplements and putting yourself into a pace of pressure financially, you're probably taking too much. Focus on your food, your water, your training, and your sleep. Supplements should be the last thing that you're looking at. Where are we at? This is becoming a long Q&A. Number 6, how do you manage your time between filming content, coaching, training, and actually having a personal life? Do you use AI or systems to stay on top of everything? Absolutely. I use AI and systems to keep on top of everything. Right now, all these questions have been collated, no, that way, in terms of where I'm pointing for screen, because the screen's over there, but this is a mirrored video. My ChatGPT is very well trained to assist me in every single part of what I do. My assistant is called Finn. I can at any time, difficult because we're filming on the phone, there's a trigger button where I can hit it and say, Finn, I need you to collate this, and this. He can then email me what I need. So for example, these questions, I have been sending him messages using WhatsApp with an N8N automation piece set up when I see these questions so that they'd be on a list, so that today when I went to do this, I was able to say, Finn, pull up the 8 questions for the Q&A video. There's a lot that can be done with that. That's probably its own video. That might be its own whole new channel. But managing my time, to be honest, it's probably the hardest thing in my life. Right now, it is 4:38, and this video's got to be done in the next 3-ish minutes because I need to get out the door and get back for evening coaching. So managing my time, I fucking don't do it all the time. I'm not perfect. I mess it up often because I get distracted with talking to people. I get distracted with some doom scrolling. I get distracted with reading, with all kinds of things that can be positive, but it's somewhere where I could do better. But I will probably expand on that question in its own video. Number 7, what's one mental or emotional skill you think every man should master before chasing success in business or fitness? One mental or emotional skill. Being able to accept criticism. This is probably the most difficult thing for the modern man, is being able to hear a critique in the way that it's meant. A critique is not always an attack. Sometimes it's somebody seeing something that you are struggling with or maybe doing poorly and giving you an opportunity to do better. Most of the men that I've helped over the past 15 years of my career, that's probably been the biggest theme, is that people struggle to hear negative feedback. So if that's business or fitness or your personal life, your relationship, learning to hear your failings and improve upon them is the biggest skill that you can gander and work on, but it's not something you should wait to get into these things for. You get into it and you learn it on the go. The last question for the Q&A. Do you ever struggle with comparison online, seeing other coaches or creators blow up faster? And how do you deal with that without letting it derail you? This is a banger. When it comes to fitness, I don't really struggle with the comparison. Like if I see an incredible bodybuilder online, I'm not like, oh no, I don't look like that anymore. I can celebrate somebody and be like, he's fucking doing great. With business and coaches, it can be difficult at times. Anyone that's watching this that is a fitness coach, you know what it's like to see somebody who is a piss poor coach who is doing fucking phenomenal. And I don't mean that to be disparaging. Some people are not born to be the best fitness, strength, or conditioning coach in the world. They're not looking at people and understanding how they should move. They haven't done the work on the gym floor to understand how to adequately help somebody through their fitness journey. But that person might be born with unbelievable skills to be a marketer and be able to package what they do in a way that allows them to grow a fitness business to incredible heights, which makes them a lot of money. But I have another view within that although they are not the greatest coach in the world, if they get to enough people and those people get very basic, simple advice that they're good at following, they make a positive impact to the world. So for the last couple of years, I've really worked to try and not get wound up about that and just accept that everybody's on their own journey. Same as within fitness, Same as within business, same as within every area of your life. Comparison is the thief of joy. So, to answer that question, I do struggle to remain aligned with what I want to feel when I see somebody out there, because at the end of the day, a rising tide should lift all ships. Sometimes it doesn't feel that way. So, if you are the person who asked this, if you are a creator or a coach and you're struggling with that feeling of comparison, try to look for a reason to celebrate this person that you are comparing yourself to. Find essentially a moment of gratitude instead of a moment of hate. Because Tony Robbins, he has a great line about it being impossible to be angry while you're grateful. And I think if you're trying to build a business or build a channel or become a creator that impacts a lot of people, you're going to struggle to put out positive content if you are internally hating the fact that other people are doing incredible. So that's all the 8 questions. I think, yeah, that was all it was. If any of these hit home, drop a comment and give me a question if you want me to dig deeper on any of those topics. Could be training, mindset, relationships, business, whatever is on your mind. And if you're new here, my name is Matt. I'm the Betterman coach. Subscribe, join the Betterman movement. I think the subscribe thing is going to be here. A video you might be interested in will be over here. Like the video. If you want to follow me in anywhere else, if this was the first time that you saw me, I am the Betterman coach everywhere. Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever it's called, Facebook. Go to the website. The links are now on the YouTube. Thank you for watching. This was a long one. If you watched all the way to here, you have my thanks, but you also have my apologies. I have nothing but love for you for watching all of this. You will see me on the next one.